Barbara Brown Taylor is an author and an Episcopal priest. In her book, Bread of Angels, she writes this about the gospel reading we just heard. Sometimes, she writes, religion can get in the way. We are religious people whose religion can get in our own way. We are Jesus' hometown kin who do not always honor him. The biggest truth this story tells us is that the community of faith is one of Jesus' toughest audiences, especially when he says something that offends us. I think there's a lot of truth in what Reverend Brown says. Most of us, in the times when we're honest with ourselves, are pretty set in our ways. We believe what we believe, and we are suspicious of anyone who speaks differently. We believe we know what is right, and we believe we know what is wrong, and we do not welcome anyone who challenges those beliefs. And yet, I think, time and time again, God does just that. Challenges us always to see things the way God sees things. One example of this, maybe the clearest example, is Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, when he has a whole bunch of, "You have heard that it was said, but now I say to you," and then proceeds to encourage us to see things the way God sees them. One example is this: "You have heard that it was said, love your neighbor and hate your enemies, but I tell you, love your enemies and pray for your persecutors." Jesus challenges us to see things the way God sees things. Reverend Brown continues her thought, "But Jesus was not the only one God sent to shake us up. God is always sending people to disturb us, to wake us up, to yank our chains, to set us on fire. Because about the worst thing that can happen to us, religiously speaking, is for us to hold perfectly still without changing a thing until we turn into fossils." And then she writes this, and I love this line: "God is not behind us, holding us back. God is ahead of us, calling us forward. God is all around us, speaking to us through the most unlikely people. Sometimes it is a mysterious stranger, but more often I suspect it is people so familiar to us that we simply overlook them. Our own children and parents, our own friends and neighbors, all of those hometown prophets who challenge us and love us and tell us who we are." All of this begs the question, who are the prophets in our lives that we fail to acknowledge? Who are the people who challenge us to be a better version of ourselves, but we don't listen to them? Perhaps for the teenager, it's your parents. They've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. But you young people fail to acknowledge that they might just be right. They might just know what they're talking about. I see you parents right now rolling your eyes and elbowing your kids. But parents, maybe the prophet in your life is your own kids. Might that prophetic voice that you need to hear come from them? The one telling you to stop smoking, the one telling you to stop drinking, the one telling you you need to start exercising, the one telling you you need to spend a little more time with us. Maybe the prophet in your own life is the person at work who votes the wrong way, because you've gotten to the point now where you can't even listen to them because they're voting for him. In our first reading today, God sends Ezekiel to the Israelites who are hard of face and obstinate of heart. If we're honest with ourselves, that can pretty much describe any one of us at some time in our lives. Yet, God still sends us prophets and still challenges us to listen. My friends, today's reading is an invitation. It's an invitation to hear the prophetic voices in our own lives so that maybe, just maybe, we can become a better version of ourselves.